My hands were shaking as I held the phone, the words on the screen making my stomach drop like a stone in a bottomless pit. The sound of the office around me faded away, and all I could hear was the beating of my heart. I was standing in the middle of our corporate office, the sleek glass walls and polished wooden floors a blur as I tried to process what I had just discovered. My wife, the mother of our twins, had been having an affair throughout her pregnancy. The memory of her smile, the way she had cared for our children, everything seemed like a lie now. I felt like I had been punched in the gut, my jaw tightening as I tried to catch my breath. The fluorescent lights above seemed to hum louder, and the smell of freshly brewed coffee wafted through the air, but I couldn't smell anything except the stench of betrayal. I thought back to the day we got married, the way she had looked at me with love in her eyes, the way we had built our life together. It all seemed like a facade now. As I stood there, trying to make sense of it all, my mind wandered back to the early days of our relationship. We had met in this very office, working together in the marketing department. She was beautiful, smart, and charming, and I had fallen for her hook, line, and sinker. We had worked together for years, our relationship growing stronger with each passing day. But now, it all seemed like a lie. The sound of my colleagues chatting and laughing in the background was a stark contrast to the emptiness I felt inside. I couldn't concentrate on my work, my mind racing with thoughts of what she had done. I kept thinking about the affair, wondering who it was with, and how long it had been going on. My hands were cold, my fingers numb as I tried to type on my computer. The screen blurred in front of me, and I couldn't focus on anything except the pain and anger that was building up inside me. I got up from my chair, my legs trembling as I walked to the window. The city skyline stretched out before me, the towering skyscrapers and bustling streets a reminder of the world outside our office. But I didn't see any of it, my eyes fixed on the floor as I tried to process my emotions. I thought about confronting her, about asking her why she had done what she did. But something held me back, a sense of dread that I couldn't shake off. I didn't know what to do, my mind a jumble of emotions as I stood there, frozen in time. The office around me was a blur, the only thing that seemed real was the pain and the anger that I felt. As I stood there, trying to make sense of it all, I heard the sound of my wife's voice behind me. "Hey, how's it going?" she asked, her voice cheerful and carefree. I turned around, my eyes locking onto hers, and for a moment, I saw the woman I thought I knew. But then I remembered the affair, and my expression changed. "It's going," I replied, my voice cold and detached. She looked at me, a concerned expression on her face. "Is everything okay?" she asked. "Everything's fine," I lied, trying to keep my emotions in check. But as I looked at her, I knew that I couldn't keep this up for much longer. I had to confront her, to ask her why she had done what she did. But for now, I just turned around and walked back to my desk, my heart heavy with emotion. The days that followed were a blur, my mind racing with thoughts of the affair. I couldn't concentrate on my work, my relationships with my colleagues began to suffer, and I became withdrawn and isolated. But as the weeks turned into months, I started to think about what I was going to do. I knew that I couldn't stay in the marriage, not after what she had done. So I made the difficult decision to file for divorce. It wasn't easy, but I knew it was the right thing to do. The divorce proceedings were long and arduous, but eventually, we settled in mediation. The negotiations were tense, but in the end, we reached an agreement. I would get to keep the house, and she would get a significant amount of money. It was a fair deal, but as I looked at her across the table, I couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction. She had hurt me, betrayed me, and now she was going to pay the price. As we left the mediation room, I felt a sense of relief wash over me. It was finally over, and I could start to move on with my life. And if you have ever felt this kind of betrayal, you already know what I was feeling in that moment. If stories like this hit close to home, subscribe to Karma Chronicles, because every week we tell the stories nobody else is brave enough to share. The months that followed were tough, but I slowly started to rebuild my life. I started going to therapy, started taking care of myself, and started to focus on my career. I realized that I had been living in a bubble that had been created by my wife's lies and deceit. But now, I was free to live my life as I saw fit. As I walked into the office the next morning, I was greeted by my colleagues. "Hey, how's it going?" my friend Sarah asked, as she poured herself a cup of coffee. It's going, I replied, smiling. I'm just glad that everything is over. My colleague, John, nodded in agreement. Yeah, it's been a tough time, but you're strong, you'll get through it. I smiled, feeling a sense of gratitude towards my colleagues. They had been supportive throughout the whole ordeal, and I was grateful for their friendship. As I sat at my desk, sipping my coffee, I felt a sense of peace wash over me. I had been through hell, but I had come out the other side. I was stronger, wiser, and more resilient than I had ever been before. And as for my wife, she was struggling to come to terms with what she had done. She had thought that she could get away with it, that she could cheat and lie and still keep everything that she wanted. But in the end, karma had caught up with her. She had lost the one thing that she had wanted to keep, the house, and she was left with nothing but the consequences of her actions. As I looked around the office, I realized that sometimes, justice is served in the most unexpected ways. And as for me, I was just grateful to be free from the toxic relationship, free from the pain and the anger. I was finally able to move on, to start a new chapter in my life. And as I closed my eyes, feeling the warm sun on my face, I knew that I was going to be okay. The sound of the office faded away, and all I could hear was the sound of my own heart, beating strong and free.